Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is ArbieG and today we are at the FIA Nations Cup round 6. So today we are back at Fuji, which we were at for the manufacturers, not the last manufacturers race, but the one before that, in the Group V, DB. I can't remember a DB9. I always forget a DBR9. That's it. Sorry, my brain went complete toffee. But we're just about to come into qualifying now, and we are in. I believe it's a concept car. So this isn't an actual real car that exists. It's like a concept car. So it's an Audi E-Tron, which is an electronic car, which completely freaked me out because this car has no gears, and I don't just mean like it's an automatic car, which it functions like an automatic car, but as you can hear, it has no gears, it just goes. It's like a very glorified funfair, a go-kart, which is good. But you can see I put my best practice time up there, 1:29.4. So let's see how we do with this qualifying session now as we come and look at the best qualifying lap that I set. Unfortunately, I don't have, for some reason I couldn't save the replay. It was completely greyed out. I didn't really understand why, so we've had to use the gameplay footage here. But you guys get the idea. As we come zooming around here, we come off the accelerator here, just give it a little touch just to get a little bit more of a kick, and then we accelerate it out and brake just on the marker there, hit the apex, making sure you get slow enough to hit the apex properly, and away you go, flat out, down to the bottom of here. You need to brake a lot earlier than what we do in the Group 2 cars here. I usually use the orange bollard, not the cone, but the bollard on the barrier on the left as my brake marker to get through there. And straight up here, hit the brake. I normally hit the brake when I come past the cone there on the left, so I actually hit it a little early there for some reason. Not completely sure why. And then when you hit the end of the curb stows, trail brake up through here, and come to the outside. And when you pass that lamppost on the left, trail brake through until you hit this apex, and then try and get on the accelerator as easy as you can. That was not very clean. I can normally do that a little bit better, get on the accelerator a little earlier, and obviously run that corner a little deeper. But let's see where that brings us in. That brings us in on a 1:31.3, so we're actually quite a ways behind our best practice of a 1:29.4. So we're actually, again, qualifying's not gone fantastic for us, but let's see where they put us on the race as we now come into our ever favourite OTT cinematic for the Nations Cup, and then we'll check out where that time put us on the grid for this qualification. So that qualification went, I think it went pretty poorly, you know, in terms of almost 2 seconds down from my best practice. The bits you didn't see there is that was my first fast lap, which was the one I got the best time on. After that, well, the second lap wasn't too bad, but I had a chance basically to do 4 fast laps. The first 2 were kind of alright. The third one, I got a penalty, which means that screws up both the third and the fourth one. So yeah, a bit of a poor qualifying session. Got the penalty for a cut in the corner. Let's have a look through the grid now. And the best time was a 1:30.7. So if we got our best time, we would have been quite a way ahead in the grid. But it's not what we've got. So let's see where we end up, and let's see what we can do to try and maximise our position by the end of the race. So it's 1:31.2. So we weren't too far off this pace here, but you can tell, yeah, that it's a shame really that we didn't get to our peak. But it's a 1:31.1. You can see there's 1:31.3. You can see there in 7th place. Don't know if you noticed, but this we've dropped our sponsorship from Bang, and now we've gone with Whiskers, the famous cat food, which I know is very, very thought of in the racing world. So we have got a grid start today. I don't know who thought to put this race in a grid start. They're a maniac. These cars are very, very fast. So let's just see what kind of start we can get away to, as we're starting in 7th place. And there's a false start in 9th position behind us, so he's going to get away to a bad start, and we are away. A lot of people not using traction to get themselves away, and I did, and you can see what kind of start it gets me through as I sort of push through those little sandwich of the pack there, come onto the braking, and I just get the much better line through that. A little bit of rubbing with the guy on the left, but nothing that kind of puts him off his race. And now it sits us up in third place as we're on the inside with someone just behind us, and we're just going to try and see if we can just hold this place. So that's a really, really good start from us, from 7th place right the way up to 3rd. So we've managed to take that first corner really well and come out really fortunate. Let's see if we can hold it as we come in now through this hairpin here. As we come in a bit slow, and someone gives us a nice little tap there. Nothing to be concerned about really. As now we dropped down back one place, but the cars sound really strange, don't they? Like, they're all electronic cars, and you don't get that normal. They all sound either really quiet or really spacey and future, but it gets really messy through there. We come out somehow in 4th. We took a couple of knocks and a couple of hits, and we're sitting now just for the guy from Holland, and we actually give him a little tap there. You come onto the brakes. I remember this specifically. You come onto the brakes really heavily and out of nowhere there, in a place where I really just wasn't expecting him to brake at all. So yeah, my fault. I crashed into the back of him, and something you shouldn't do whatsoever. But you also, the unexpected braking or just the irregular braking completely threw me out. But we were in 3rd place, and I think the game recognised that. I hope it did anyway, because we don't come away with a penalty for the knock that we gave that guy. But we now come away in 3rd place, which is, like I said, we qualified in 7th, and this perhaps takes away and puts us into kind of roughly where we should be in terms of our pace. But let's see if we can hold it all together and stay in 3rd place for the remainder. So obviously it was nice to come back to this one not so long after doing this track in the Manufacturers Series. But it is weird to come back with such a different car. Obviously I was doing this in the Aston Martin before. It had gears for a start. We've jumped up to lap 6 now, so we're just going to keep an eye on lap 6, and you can see pushed up right up to 2nd place now. We're only a second behind him, and we've pushed away and made a little bit of a gap between us and the chap in 4th, who's about 4.5 seconds to 5 seconds behind us. So been looking for an opportunity to get past this chap a couple of laps now, so I've just been keeping an eye on how he takes it. I know he takes his next turn really, really sort of close to the apex, so I come in really, really deep to see if I can get the better exit speed, and let's see if this works out for us. And you can see how much exit speed we got on there, almost make a little bit of side contact, but managed to avoid it as we're side by side now in our space agey weirdy electronic cars. And I've just got the edge in terms of speed, but I've got the inside line, so it's a slower line to take, but obviously I've got the track one position as well, and let's see if we can come out this ahead, as we're in the braking zone now, and he's got slightly ahead, but I've got like I said, I've got the track position, makes me hard to overtake, and I'm in front of him, and let's see if we can keep hold of it going down into the next corner. If we get to the next corner, then we've secured it, and it looks like we have, and it looks like we've got our overtake there and moved ourselves up into 2nd place, and can either start now trying to push on that 5-second gap between us and the guy in 1st, or just trying to hold on to 2nd place, because start in 7th, and if we can finish this in 2nd, is going to be a fantastic a result. And let's just see if we can hold on to it as we now come round into lap 7. So this is you could do this as a 2-stop strategy. We're going to need to stop at some point. There's 2 tyre types on this. We've got small and mediums that we're allowed to run on. Small and mediums? I meant to say mediums and hards. That we're allowed to run on, but we have to wear the hards at some point in the race. So we started the race on mediums. The general pit strategy was to go in on a lap 8 and then swap them for the hards and run the hards out for the rest of the race. You can do it as a 2-pit strategy if perhaps went in, swapped them, swapped your mediums at around 6 or 7, go out, do a few laps on hard, and then come in 9 or 10 and swap them again for mediums. But I felt like last time I did this track, I went with the 2-pit strategy, and it kind of didn't work out for me. I know it's kind of really dependent on how the race unfolds in front of you and stuff, but I feel like maybe this track, a runoff from the pit lane's really long, and you lose a bunch more time than what you do in some other tracks, and the difference between the times that I run between the mediums and the hards just didn't seem to add up to the total time it takes to pit. So for me, it was going to be a 1-stop. But you can see now we're actually in 1st place, and that's because the chap who was in 1st has gone in for a pit on the lap previous. So we're now going to sit in first place for a little bit. It's not obviously a true position in the race, as obviously I think it's the chap in third. The Frenchman in third is the chap who went in for the pit stop. So he's one pit stop in front of me, and that's something we've got to bear in mind. But we are going to come in. We were planning to come in at the end of lap 8 here. So let's see if we deviate from that plan, or if that's something that we go with. As you come up through here now, run a little wide. Didn't take that as an ideal line, but still not a. But you know, there's a few turns on here where if you don't take them too great, you're not going to lose too much of time because you don't have a massive a run off afterwards. This turn here specifically, you got to get this turn right, because you can lose up to lose a bunch of time if you don't get that right due to the exit speed. But we got that right, and it looks like we're just gaining a tiny bit of speed on the chap in second place, and we're actually not going into pit. We're going to run this out for one more lap, so must be feeling pretty confident. You can see those times I'm running 132s on the right. It maybe slowed off a little bit with a bit of tyre wear, but nothing that's really making me too concerned, and I feel quite in control of the car. So decided to go out for one more here. So let's see how this unfolds and whether this is the right move. So we've got the Frenchman still stuck behind the chap from the Netherlands behind us, and that not necessarily a bad thing. He might hold them up for us. He might slow down the Frenchman, and we might have had to gain a bit of time if we can keep pulling away. But we're not pulling away with anything with any kind of pace that feels like we're making a significant draw. So looks like we're definitely going to have to. I'll be very surprised if we don't pit in on this lap, because these tyres are going to be really worn now. Yeah, so we should come in here, but thing we have managed to do is that gap now between us and fourth is massive. So if we come into pit, it looks like we're going to come in and still keep in the top 3, which would be great. That we've come in pit stop and still in top 3, so it means it's all on us really in terms of trying to just hold on to that podium. And also we've got to bear in mind, it's also the guy from the Netherlands behind me hasn't gone into pit yet, so he may be coming in here as well. But we'll keep an eye on him and see what we're doing. But we're coming in this time to pit. You're coming across. And actually looks like he's coming as well, the chap from the Netherlands. So it looks like the Frenchman in third is going to reclaim his first place, as he rightly should. He's been a bit ahead of us in pace. And we're going to swap over to the hard tyres. Don't have to worry about fuel because this car doesn't... It's an electric car. We don't have any fuel. It just charges itself under braking and stuff like that. So we're away. And we're still holding on to our second place. This is really good news that we've done our pit stop, and we're still in a great place without getting caught up by loads of traffic and bogged down. So you can see the Frenchman's got a real nice gap on us now, a good 7 seconds or so. And the chap from the Netherlands behind is still out of threatening range. It's actually starting to expand now. I was about to say it's going to be 1 second, but it's now about 1.5 seconds. We've gained about half a second on that turn there. So now it's just a case of probably, looking at first place, probably going to unrealistic to drill that down, although we've already come down to about 6 seconds. But, to grind back someone who's been at a faster pace than me already through the rest of this lap, I reckon it's going to be a bit of an ask. But at least we can just try and work on that gap between us and third and just try and rebuild that up so we can, perhaps when our tyres are a little bit more worn, we don't have to try and push the tyres too hard, and we can just take the last few laps nice and easy, nice and steady. You can see already we've built that gap really nicely. 2.5 seconds now, so we've pulled in a much better lap on these hard tyres compared to the chap behind us in... I was about to say what car he's in, but he's in the same car as me in the Audi E-Tron. But he's from the Netherlands. Really do enjoy doing the one make races. I do like, I do also do like doing like the GT4 and GT3 cars, but something about the one make races kind of just brings the racing purely down to kind of skill, which I know racing so much more than that. It's about the car choice, the tuning, and all the other stuff. But we're going to jump forward now. We're going to jump forward right to lap 16. As not much to change apart from the gaps either side. As you can see, we've really worked on that gap between us and the pack behind, so we've now got about 6.5 second gap between us and the chap behind. We're pretty much matched pace for pace with the chap in first, so we've not really lost or gained time there. He's still 6 seconds ahead of us, so quite unrealistic by the time we got that gap. It would have been interesting if perhaps I did put in that good qualifying and got in either pole or second place, that I would have started up with this guy and perhaps might have had a bit more of an interesting race with him to possibly take the race win. But like I said, to start from 7th place and you know, work up to P3 going through turn 1, which, you know, is quite a rarity with me. Normally turn 1 normally involves me either holding the position or sometimes dropping a couple because I'm trying to not get killed off. But yeah, to gain a few places is something that feels good going through turn 1, and then obviously to hold that and then obviously claim one more place, put in the pit without any unnecessary headaches or traffic, and then just see the race out at the end with no huge mistakes. You can see the consistency I've hit now. Didn't get much consistency at the start of the race, but on these hard tyres, one lap I drifted a little bit up, but most of them, you know, you're looking at a 132.1 across the board pretty much. So that's really good for the consistency. But we come through and we secure ourselves the 2nd place finish for what is a really nice race. You know, quite a stressful first lap, but outside of that, you know, quite a nice and easy fun race with a few little bit of fighting with that chap we had for 2nd place. But you can see there we've got a clean race there, and we have raised it's actually our best score this season. You can see that's 59 points. So that's really, really good for us, and that puts us in such a good place going in to the next few races. So let's have a look and see what that does to the standings. So we're still 7th place in the Derbyshire area. That was obviously the best round that we've performed so far with 59 points. So that means it's round 1, round 4 and round 6 of the 3 rounds that are being submitted. Round 7 and 8. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to run those races. I wanted to do the full seasons, but I'm going to be away for a week doing a caravan holiday, and caravans don't have holiday. Caravans don't have holidays. Caravans don't have, you know, internet and stuff like that. So I will not be able to do round 7 and round 8 because I'm going from Saturday to Saturday, and obviously I'll be missing round 7. Round 8 of the manufacturer series, which I'll cover when I do the next video on that, which will come on Thursday. But yeah, really pleased with that race. Really pleased with the outcome. You can see the DRs had a positive hit. We actually had the highest DR point we've ever been at, just over 13,000, and the SR still in a fantastic place. So smiles all round, eh? Smiles all round. But that is it for today. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've been me, you've been you, and I'll talk to you guys really soon. Alright guys, cheers, bye.